Good morning, ladies. So lovely to be here. I'm actually here today to help elevate women's confidence through having more powerful language. So confidence, it's when you're standing in the bathroom, about to go on stage, and you realize there's a run in your nylons. The show must go on. Words are so powerful. We know this. Looking at social media right now. On October 5th, Harvey Weinstein, there was an article in the New York Times talking about decades of scandalous behavior. And finally, women in the entertainment industry banded together and finally rose up. And the Time's Up movement was a result of that. Women are finally speaking out. Would you agree? Ladies, it is time. It's time for change. And words are so very powerful. I know this from my own personal experience. When I grew up, you can tell from my accent, I'm not born in England. I'm not born here, I was born in England. Just testing to see if you're awake. I had a father he came back from World War II. He was traumatized. He had a bullet in Dunkirk. He was not treated. I mean, thousands and thousands of men came back. They just didn't treat them then. I just thought he was playing me, and as that leather belt was whacking me. He traumatized my mom because of his language. We never had a full set of china in our house because she was so nervous all the time. She was constantly dropping it because of the language that he used, belittling her. She taught him to drive the car. He took the car keys and wouldn't let her drive the car anymore. He took away her power, her freedom. And he took that away from her by using powerful language, but negative language. So I grew up seeing women are weak and men are strong. That was my journey. And when I turned 11, I was supposed to pass this one exam to go to a school, the same school as my sister. And I flunked it by 2 marks. And I remember my dad getting the envelope the morning of the results. He's ripping open the envelope, all excited, and then his face turns beet red. His eyes are black. And he looks at me and he says, "You failed. You will never ever be successful in life." And he stormed out. I'm 11. I'm about to go into high school. Can you imagine how confident I felt about starting a new school? Yeah. So that's just a small part of my journey. And what happened out of that? You interested in what happened? Yeah. I put up a shield. I put up a shield so that I was never going to be hurt like that again, especially by someone that I thought was supposed to be protecting me. And I carried that shield with me. Oh, I'm younger than I look. Older than I look. I carried that shield for about 45 years, and then finally realized that it was time to put it down, and that there was actually a better way. And this event happened. I remember it so clearly. I was doing a special report for a client, doing a harassment investigation, actually. They thought I could coach the guy. It's a values issue. But anyway, I did the special report, and I put it together, and I remember the executive in this big boardroom table, top floor of the office tower. He opens the report. He reads 1 or 2 lines, and then he slaps it shut. And he looks and he says, well, that's interesting. However, we've decided that we're going to actually go in this direction. Completely the opposite direction than what I was recommending. And I had worked so hard on that report. I had put other client business aside to actually deliver that report. And here I was, again, getting kicked in the stomach. I knew there had to be a better way. So that's what I set out to do. I set out to learn, how do I live confidently as a female, as a woman entrepreneur, but do it in a feminine way, not trying to compete with men in business. Because ladies, we're never going to be equal, right? If we look at wage gap, I think they're saying now it's going to be 25 years before there's parity in wages. And now the slides are working. Let's catch up, everybody. So we had the times up, we talked about that. 81 cents on the dollar. 81 cents for every dollar a man makes. Are you crazy? It's time for change, isn't it? Yeah. Let's be fearless. Let's negotiate our salaries. And I can certainly teach you how to do that. But women don't ask. I mean, I've interviewed and hired about 6,000 people in my career. Women do not negotiate salaries. Why do you think that is? Because we want to be liked. We don't want to be awkward or difficult in a hiring situation. We want to get that job so bad, we don't negotiate. Ladies, I am giving you permission. Every single one of you. Negotiate. All you have to do is ask, because if you don't ask, guaranteed you're not going to get it. But if you do, you raise your odds by 50%, then you might get a yes. So it's time. It's time to change. I know from research, this is a Zenga Folkman. I always have trouble saying that. I think I need water. But we know that women are actually more effective leaders. Did you know that? Yeah. Woo! Go ladies! 54.5% effectiveness versus men, 51.8. Sorry, honey. I know you're, one of the few men in the room, but anyway, you'll love me anyway, right? I won't try and ask you to read all these things, but they did their research and there were 16 competencies that they looked at for leadership effectiveness. Out of that list of 16 competencies, the women were in the top 10 every time of being more effective than the men. So I know some of you at the back, maybe you can't read this, you don't have to. Inspires and motivates others. Do we do that well, ladies? Yes. Champions of change. Yes. Collaboration and teamwork. High energy. Develops others. That's a key piece, which is why I love working with women entrepreneurs in my coaching, because I know that when I help them figure out how to hire great talent, they actually stay longer. They empower them differently. We ask questions. We don't just tell people and direct them. So it makes a huge difference when we actually want to take a vacation. Because if you have no systems and no people in your business, you won't be able to take that vacation without worrying, sitting on the beach worrying. So I speak now. I teach women, hundreds of women, to be more confident, to be flourishing in business. And then as part of that work of that story after getting kicked in the stomach, I actually took some time off after that. I decided it was time to step back and figure this out. How can I show up more confidently as a woman in a different way, in a more feminine way? So I researched, I did TED Talks, I went to workshops, I hired my coach, and I reflected. That was the most important thing, was clearing some space. So instead of running around in the pond and making muddy water and everything is murky and you can't see what's real, I stopped. I stood still and I let the water settle. And it was amazing what clarity came out of that. And now I wrote a book on it. So Words, Women and Wisdom, The Modern Art of Confident Conversations is that book. So this is me and my mom. We talked about that already. Click, click. We talked about the exam and the marks. Oh, we didn't talk about him, did we? Now I've got your full attention. Where do you think his confidence muscle is? Okay, I'll just let that one hang. I mean, have you ever played that game Operation when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Did you ever find the confidence muscle? I never did. So ladies, let's get to the meat of this talk, right? I believe that your confidence muscle is right here, your heart. So it's about using powerful language that comes from the soul. It's not about trying to show up in business and operate as a man does. It's about leveraging our unique talents, using authenticity as a leader, as a female leader, being in conversation with others, reciprocity. It's not about telling. It's about engaging, inviting, trading, negotiating, doing that in a collaborative way, asking for what you want and getting it, and being authentic. So your words have to match your actions. If you're standing there and saying, yeah, I'm really confident. Oh, wait a minute, that looks like an animal in the wild. Kenya, right? Going for the jugular. So it's about authenticity. So that's part of one of the systems I teach, because I know it's a recipe, right? You know, you've baked a cake and you've missed a key ingredient. All of a sudden, you've got this soggy mess. Yeah. So it's key to know what the steps are. So the first one is about words. Your words have energy. Yeah. And you know why? Because it's resonating from your soul. If you have a powerful, positive intention, your words come across in that fashion. Your body doesn't lie because it knows the difference. And it knows the difference because 70% of our body is water, approximately. And who's seen the work of Masaru Emoto before? Yeah, a few inspired, empowered, awake, alive, aware women. Seen that work? It's actually on the train stations in London, underground. So if you think about his work, he actually froze water crystals in cities, and then he froze them in nature. And he looked at the difference. And it was amazing. Sick water came out of the cities. Congestion, anger, it was sick. So he actually started playing around and doing freezing with words and water and music. So when he put water next to "you make me sick" words, it froze like that. It's kind of ugly and brown, eh? Whereas if you put it next to "thank you," a positive, warm, inviting statement, look at the beautiful crystal that came out of that. And we're 70% water. So being in that positive energy state is really important. I mean, I can teach you the words, right? So if you want higher confidence, you've got to cut out the weak language. So stop saying, "oh, I just wanted to." We don't need that word. It's disempowering you. Sorry. I know we're Canadian, but let's stop saying sorry. Let's just own it and say, "oopsie, I'm going to fix that. I trust that you'll let me fix it." And say that instead. Don't ask for permission. Why do we do that? Just ask for forgiveness instead if you need to. Just step into it. There is no failure, right? My dad was wrong about that. There are only lessons, learning opportunities in life. And if we fall forwards and fail forwards more frequently, we learn a heck of a lot. I mean, we know that adversity builds confidence, right? It's not the easy journey, which is where you have your biggest learnings and growth. It's when you've struggled and you know that that path was an important road for you. And you've actually got there through that struggle. It's like the butterfly, right? Trying to get out of the cocoon. Yeah. So perhaps maybe just kind of weak words. So let's move into strong, powerful words. So I have a favorite question. It's, "I'm curious." Yeah. I'm coming from a place of curiosity. How could that be a negative thing? It's a positive place to start. So how could we? When could we? What if? Because, do you know, the person that is actually asking the questions is in control of that conversation, right? Yeah. So be the one who's asking the questions, coming from the heart, from the soul. Asking versus telling, really important. Powerful language. One of my clients, Sophie Serafino, the president for Every Woman Foundation, you may recognize her. She was struggling with work-life balance, and once we got it figured out, what she was all about at her core and how to articulate her values and her principles, it was so much easier for her to step into more powerful language and to actually own it and say no to people and say, "no, I'm sorry, that's not going to work for me right now." Powerful. Words are powerful, so forgive first, own it, don't lay blame, stop saying sorry, everybody, And I've discovered this thing called appreciative sales kinetics. Who's heard of that? Oh, that's good, because it's my term. But it is a take-off appreciative inquiry, right? So when I'm working with a new client, instead of going in and saying, hey, tell me about your biggest pain point, your biggest challenge, what is that? Which you see them deflate, and their energy drains right out. Let's start in a place of positive energy. What's working really well for you already? And how could it be even better? Nothing to object to there, because we haven't even looked into the future together yet. So I encourage you to play with that concept. What does it look like? What does it feel like? If you see success in the future, how will you interpret that? How will you measure it? Because it's really, really important that you know how you're being measured, especially if you're in an employment situation. Because otherwise you get a performance review coming up and then you get blindsided, right? Oops, I thought we were measuring this. No, measured on that. So ladies, get really clear on that. And then the other thing I mentioned is the power of reciprocity. It's underutilized. Always have an ask in your back pocket whenever you're going for a meeting. Have something that you're intrigued to learn, and have a gift that you're willing to share as well. So that when you make that ask, it's a two-way street. It's coming from the heart. So I very often will use power phrases. Who's got a power phrase? You don't have to share it, but I'll share mine. You have one? Shout it out. Oh, yes! Fearless! Stop crying and start trying. I love it, my dear. Awesome. Mine is, I am uplifting the spirit of humanity. So if I'm having a down day, how can I stay down thinking about that powerful work of what I'm doing? It doesn't last very long. But the trick is to actually create that statement when you're in a moment of pride, when you've celebrated something massive and you're so excited about it. Then create that statement when you're in that high energy. We know adversity ingrains confidence, talked about that a little bit. And success, when you know how you're being measured and you can see you're making progress. That also bolsters confidence. So make sure you have a regular reflection process. And maybe it is simple, like that positive inquiry, appreciative inquiry. What's working really well? How could it be even better? Be kind to yourself, ladies. If you're trying to, I don't know, lose a few pounds, if you're standing in front of the mirror saying, I am 95 pounds, your brain is going to kick in and say, you're lying to yourself. But if you say instead, I am in the process of becoming 95 pounds, you can own that, right? Yes, it's all about positive language from the heart, especially being kind to yourself. The other thing I want to encourage each and every one of you to do is to develop a pause statement. Because most things in life, unless you're a stockbroker or a heart surgeon or a gynecologist, are really not that urgent. And when we show up in business, we're going to show up as strong feminine leaders, not in the masculine energy. However, if we get blindsided by something, that's very often when liquid sunshine starts, right? And men don't always know, you do, honey, but men don't always know how to handle it. So instead of that, develop your power pause statement, which could be as simple as, oh, that's an interesting perspective. I'm going to reflect on that and I'll be back in touch with you. You haven't said when, right? You're not locking off your calendar. You haven't argued with them, it's a shitty proposal or a bad idea. You've just said, I need to think about this. Holy smokes, I'm going to the bathroom. So that's my language, but find something that works for you as your power pause statement. So I do have a system about this, right? It's about authenticity. So that's why it's got to be your statement, not mine. Own it, your own words. It's about that consistent, aligned body language. If you're saying you're confident, but you're standing like this, it just sends the wrong message. And then people won't trust you, they won't listen to you, they won't respect you. And we don't have to be liked, ladies, but we do need to be respected. One of the best ways to do that, to gain that respect fast, is to actually do what you say you're going to do, right? because people then know that they can trust you. You know that you can trust yourself, right? In one of my HR workshops, I talk about behavioral descriptive interviewing, and it's basically knowing the difference between, well, yes, I think I should exercise every morning, but did I exercise this morning? No. If you say you're going to exercise this morning, make sure you set your alarm and there's no snooze button, that you actually get up and you commit to yourself first. Authenticity coming from the heart. Another one of my clients, Sharon Irvin, she's an HR professional, and she was looking to get more grounded, to find her inner strength, reconnect to her heart. That was the work that we did together. She found joy. She's still a work in progress, she says, but she's a lot further down the road now. So the next time that you have a situation where you have a leader making advances, unwelcome advances, really, I'm encouraging you to take back your own power. Step forward and literally use the hand. Stop, because this could go on social media. And really, that's all you need to say right now. If it's your husband who's being abusive and not caring, it's again, stop. How are you role modeling ideal parenting to our kids? That's one more of a guilt trip, that one. Your child's ignoring you. She's not cleaning up her room. Honey, when she asks, could you take me to the mall? Prime time for reciprocity. Yes, I'd be happy to take you. And we can go about 4 o'clock, but if you get your room cleaned up faster, we could leave earlier. It works every time. And ladies, as co-workers, Teresa de Groba, the author of Mass Influence, says we can never make ourselves famous. Only other people can do that for us. So if you're in a meeting and a lady makes a suggestion and then a man picks up the idea and runs with it and all of a sudden everyone's getting excited about it, ever had that? Yeah. Yeah. Honor her, support her and help her to be famous. Compliment her. That's what we did with another one of my clients who's a wealth co-advisor and manager. It's about having those deep inspirational conversations. Sometimes it's with yourself, sometimes it's with your coach, but figuring out what do you want to bring to the table that's really important to you. Oh, we're back to Manuel, I call him. So I encourage you to think, in my last couple of minutes here, where do you want to gain strength? Here's a little acronym I developed, especially for you, to keep these principles fresh. It's called HEART. So H is for happy, right? Come from a place of positive energy. Use your power phrase. Develop that energy of authenticity so you're resonating. You don't even have to say a word sometimes. Asking versus telling. Sharing, being reciprocal. And learn to develop to trust yourself. So when your gut is telling you something, ladies, please listen. So I encourage you, ladies, step it up. Be fearless. Build your confidence muscle. If you want to do more in this area, as I mentioned, I wrote a book. Come see me at my table. I'm happy to talk about how you could get a free copy of that book, Words, Word, and Wisdom, The Modern Art of Powerful Communications. So, are you feeling more powerful? Hell yeah. Woo! My job is done. Thank you.